Hey Dina. Hey Dina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh man, I can't complain. Over here trying to get some work done, getting
Oh,
ready for
wait.
these holidays. What about yourself?
Ditto. Um, I had um, some client that had gone with a investment company, and the deal was going through beautifully, and then they decided uh, that they didn't want to spend an extra 15% on this loan, and so they canceled that one. So I got them reconnected.
Oh,
And we just executed a deal yesterday.
oh
So we
man.
didn't lose the house. 490. I didn't want to lose that one.
Hey, I know it would have been rough on the stomach, man. That's good
Oh
you bounced
Lord,
back.
I'm telling you, so uh but you have to respect what is good for them,
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's always, that thin line. I try to make sure it's hurtful when you got those deals bust, but at the end of the day, they will come back to you when you do the right thing by them, and
Well, and they didn't care for the company, but they liked me.
oh
So that
man.
ended up being a real good deal.
Okay.
Uh, so anyway, I'm just feeling real blessed that
Amen. Yeah.
everything is going through.
Good,
You
good.
know,
Are you traveling for the holidays?
I think as of now I am done. I just have to finish wrapping everything.
Okay. All
And
right.
my husband sometimes gets a ham from where he works.
Uh-huh.
He does HOA violation drives.
Okay, I got you.
And so I'm just waiting to see if they give him a ham or if I need to go buy one. It's
Hey, these
that
stores are
hard.
getting crazy right now too. It's like I drive by this Kroger's in my neighborhood. I'm like, man, are they giving away stuff in there the way there's cars all the way out to the
Oh,
parking lot?
Lord, it is insane.
Yeah, yeah. We used
So,
to, I don't know, HEB, they used to carry this like a Cajun turkey, and
uh-huh.
every year we bought that turkey, and it was like good. It was got to the point to where we traveled to Florida for Thanksgiving, and we would buy two. We'd take one with us to Thanksgiving in Florida, and then on Christmas we would have ours here. And they stopped selling the turkey. I'm like, that was their best seller. I'm like, what happened? But it's like we got to try to find another option now.
Well, we had our I found turkey at Thanksgiving for 39 cents a pound. So I got a big one for the family, and I
Mhm.
got me a little 12 pounder for later in the year when you invite people over for cards, you just
Yeah,
stick it in the oven.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What,
Uh,
what kind
I
of
mean,
cards you play?
that was big.
Huh?
Oh, we play poker, we play Mexican train.
Okay, okay.
Oh, if you're going to play poker, you always have to have some money, right?
Oh yeah.
So what we do so that nobody goes broke, it's like, $5 get you 25,000.
Chips. Oh,
And
that's good. I like that. Yeah,
and so it's food, fellowship, and fun. You know what
yeah.
I'm
I
saying?
like that. No, that's great.
And
That's how we used to pay. Me and my wife, when we joined this church, they put us over. We've been working ministry for all of our life and pretty much adulthood, and we was over the marriage ministry, and we would always try to get the women out, get the guys out, and we just had to find things to do to make sure everybody had something that would and make them want to come to the Bible study. And you know, some people they gotta be incentivized to come to Bible study. Other people they know that Bible study is essential, right?
yeah,
But the guys, we used to after the Bible study and the ladies were all, full and they start talking and, the social media stuff, the guys would always play like a little poker. And that's what we used to do. We didn't play for money, but we'll give out some poker chips, and then that person would have bragging rights all the way up until the next Bible study. We try to do one once a month at least.
Well, we
Robert,
figured
that's called a hook.
They're baiting them and hook them. Hey, Laura, how are you?
Good. Hey, Dina.
Hey, how you
I'm
doing,
good.
sweet thing?
I'm good. After this, I'm going to write an offer.
Oh man, that's what I'm
Well,
talking
we just
about.
got through. I just got through saying I just got to. I just had one execute contract.
Woohoo! Congratulations, Dina.
Yeah, 500,000 too. So she rolling.
Yeah, this one's going to be for 450.
Oh man, y'all, I'm gonna have to borrow some money from y'all, man.
Oh,
These are some good
please.
deals.
You look at you rolling.
I'm rolling and rolling and rolling to the next deal. I need another deal in place. I don't get to do, you know what's funny? I don't get to do as much real estate as I used to. I really only do family and friends, and a few of my investors still, you know, do some things. They buy property here or there, pretty much commercial. But it's, you know, it's been fun while it's lasting.
That's because so many people. That's because you're busy with helping so many other people make deals, and you get your little cut off of that.
Yeah, you know, at times those that are you know, productive and making sure it happen. But you know, it's funny. I was talking to Fernando today. I was like, man, you know, at the end of the day, you know, as long as everybody feel like they being successful, that's a blessing to me. I feel like, you know I don't know everything. I don't claim to, but at the end of the day, I feel like I can offer someone something, right? And those that I can touch and help, man, I'm super excited about. Those that I can't, I just try harder, you know. But it seems like everybody's coming in. Let me let a few people in. Brandon, what's up? Hey, Patricia.
Yeah, you rock it. You rock at it. I don't know how you sleep at night.
I don't. You remember
I don't even know if you sleep at night.
Hey, I was just gonna say, remember, I don't sleep at night. I'll be sending out emails at 2 and 3 in the morning. All right, guys. Well, I know that a few people are gonna be jumping on, but it's 8:30. I'm gonna try to respect everybody's time and also try to get everybody in as they come in. But I wanted to you know, come out tonight and just thank you guys for joining us on our webinar. I think this is well overdue. A lot of people has been asking, you know, what's going on the commercial side, and you know, talking to Rick and talking to Fernando, I think we got a really good start of what we want to do for commercial. So we thought we'll share it with you guys before the new year start. So welcome to introducing a new commercial DA checklist. I won't try to keep you long. Most of this stuff you probably heard it before. The new stuff is really just going to be these commercial forms and the numbers that you can use to kind of make sure that you're on the right track with your file for commercial leases, sales, or listings, whatever it may be. All right. Here, let me let this person in real quick. All right.
Going to be I got a quick question. Who's going to be the reviewer?
I still review for the mentees that I have. A lot of people are still just now getting into commercial, but once you know I review it, I will send it into compliance. They'll give us that second set of eyes, and once compliant review it, of course, you know, they'll kick it back and let us know if there's any notes or updates that we need.
Okay.
All right. So, you know, there's a couple of categories that this form is broken down into, and it's very similar to our residential version of this checklist. But we have the sales transaction when you're representing the buyer or, you know, the principal. You have not the principal, but the listing transaction when you're representing the seller. And then, you know, the lease transaction where you represent either the tenant, the seller, the buyer, whoever. And then, of course, you're going to have those other documents that support your file that may not go with this. But these few documents that we got listed in the list is what you're going to need for compliance to stamp it and say that you're complete. Okay. Things to consider while completing your file. You know, of course, we got our famous dot loop that we use. Some of us use zip form, some of us use some other things, but if you are using dot loop, make sure you give your file a name. I particularly like to give the file a name by the address, right? A lot of times people try to do the client name, and if you got that client buying multiple properties, it can be a little mix up here or there. So just stick with using the address. I think it'll work better. And I know from a residential standpoint, it works better because it uploads the information from the MLS into your loop to kind of help you minimize the inputs that you have. Okay.
I put in I start the file with the residential with the person's name so that I can get the IABS signed and the buyer rep agreement.
Okay.
And then I move it over to a address name.
Okay, there you go. I mean, if you got a system, you know, a lot of you seasoned realtors, you kind of been doing this for a minute. So you may have a process down and that works. And as long as you're getting them files in on time, that is great. For some of the newbies, you know, we try to, you know, streamline it as much as possible. But at the end of the day, if it's working, you know the saying, you don't gotta, if it ain't broken, don't gotta fix it. So keep doing what you're doing. All right. Make sure that when you do complete these, filling out these forms, complete it 100%. I know some people, when it comes to blanks, they don't like to leave blanks. They like to put 0 or NA. If you want to do that, that's fine. But what I'm talking about when I'm saying completing it is if you're going to check box number 5 or you write something in box number 5, and I'm just throwing out there, make sure you check that box as well. I know a lot of time I get quick and I'm writing in what I know I need to write in, but sometimes forget to check the box. So check those boxes. And then follow the checklist. You know, what I try to train my agents to do, if we can, as we are going through the checklist and creating a file, I like to put all of my documents in order of the checklist so that I know I have everything in place and I don't have to worry about if anything is missing. So it's something that I do, but at the end of the day, just make sure you follow the checklist. All right, and if you are in the mentor program, you know, have them to review it with you. That way you can get some clarity. And if you're not in a mentor program, you know, do your due diligence and just make sure that you submit those things to TUR Contracts, which is our compliance department. And if you are a mentee, make sure you submit it to your mentor. And that's just across the board, not necessarily just commercial, but in residential as well. So, and if you have any kickbacks or updates as needed, just make sure you do them in a timely manner. Okay. So we know in residential, files are due 3 days after the option period. Very similar to, you know, residential, these are due after feasibility period. Now, this can be a little tricky when you have those long extended feasibility periods. You don't want to get caught up where you forget about this file. You know, commercial deals take 6-9 months sometimes, and if you forget about this file, you can get behind the 8 ball on your paperwork. But when you start doing commercial, you'll see there's a commercial timeline checklist in there where you can kind of write down some important dates. When is your feasibility period up? When is your financing contingency up? If you had an extension of your feasibility, when is that? If you got some surveys or inspections or whatever it is that's included on this file, putting those dates on there help you keep track of how your file is doing and when things are due. And I suggest that you create something for residential as well. But, you know, like I said, to each his own. We just want to make sure that, you know, all agents have some type of system in place to make sure that they are submitting their files and completing them on a regular basis.
Do you have paperwork for that, like a like a checklist that I've asked for this before, like a timeline checklist that you
Yeah,
already have in place?
I have something that I use. It's not necessarily, you know, the how could I say it? You would have to write in some of the dates, but it'll give you some lines and timelines that you can use as examples. And yes, I can send it to you. Just send me your email address and I'll send you a copy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is a copy inside of Dotloop. I'll try to.
At times, they're having teenagers deliver medical care as volunteers. I literally remember one scene where they were trying to
Okay,
save someone's
I'm not
life.
sure who that is, but
Pulse
can
like-
you mute, please? Thank you. So yeah, Dina, if you want to send me a quick email, I'll send it back, shoot it back to you. Okay. And then last but not least, okay, you guys know there are late fees when you're turning in your file late. It start off at $150 for the initial fee, and then there's a per day amount as we go. And you know, Fernando or Rick can answer those questions for you. But just keep your files up to date, turn them in when you know they're done. My recommendation is once you know that you're getting close to understanding if this property is still a good fit for your buyer or seller, or the seller has a good feel for the buyer that they have, I suggest go ahead and submit then. Okay. All right, so here we go. Here's the first part. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah.
All right. So for representing the buyer, right? We got the DA form, of course, nothing changed there, right? You're gonna have this checklist that you're gonna work off of. And then the actual contract. So you got to remember there is an unimproved and an improved contract that you can use for this purpose. You know, we put the improved contract because a lot of people use that more. But if you're doing land or something else, you know, make sure you get the right physical contract for you. Okay. The next one is kind of like, you know, your third party financing, but it's the commercial contract financing addendum. And I put these numbers out here. So when you're in Dotloop, if you're having a hard time finding them, you can look and, you know, type in this number in the right template and it'll pull it up. In zip forms, if you guys are still using zip form, any of you, pretty much type in a number, it'll go straight to it. The IABS didn't change, so that's across the board. You use that same one that we've been using. All right. Commercial property condition report. Sometimes your sellers don't have this. You have to go with an inspection, but there's some portions inside of the improved contract that talks about known facts about the property, you know, and they have an opportunity to check whether they know it or don't know it, et cetera, et cetera. But those detailed sellers can also express their understanding by this condition statement. Okay.
Is that equivalent to a seller's disclosure in
Yeah.
residential?
Yes, ma'am. Sure is. It's just that some sellers, they're not completing them 100% in the commercial side. Like I said, because they have a few lines in there that give them explanation on the contract. But I try to always ask for this, especially if it's a property that somebody has owned for some time. All right. And then, of course, the earnest money, you know, by getting to the title company, you need that receipt. Of course, it's still the same, 72 hours to do that. You'll find, believe it or not, a lot of commercial will have an on-site septic system and sewer system. So use this TR 1407 to help identify exactly what type of system they have, aerobic or whatever they're using, and the condition and the last service date, so that your client can have an opportunity to decide if, you know, this is something they want to deal with. But septic is very, very, very common in commercial, just so you know, especially in those rural areas, right? Then you got your lead-based paint. Lead-based paints, when you think of it, and when you look at this form, it's going to say residential, but we want to cover our bases because they don't have a commercial version of this, at least not that I know of or have seen. But you know how forms and documents are. That's why we love those updates. I'm pretty sure as we continue, if there's something that need to be updated, we'll get that version to us pretty soon. I'm sorry, let me let this person in. Okay. And then hopefully I'm not moving too fast. We have the commercial buyer tenant rep agreement. Very similar to the residential. In this one, you just got to identify who your person is, how many properties they plan to buy, when it starts, et cetera, et cetera. But it's some simple questions on these documents that if you just ask yourself, you can fill it out as you go. But if you're working with me or any other mentors, we'll be more than happy to help you fill it out as well.
Okay, in contrast to residential, how long is the time period that, because in residential you put 6 months, maybe a year, depending on their financing. What do you do for commercial when it says the length of this agreement?
You're talking about the financing agreement?
No, I'm talking about the commercial buyer rep agreement.
Oh, I normally, for most times, and it's just me, I typically just put a year on all of my documents.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I just put a year. But if you have some specific timeline, you can put that as well. I know, because a lot of times, some people, they would tell you, I'll let you represent me for this amount of time. If we don't find anything, I may have to explore other options. So whatever works for you and the client is okay in those cases. But if you have the opportunity to just stick with about a year, especially if it's something that is going to take some time, particularly like those properties that you're selling that has a business included with it. And if you do that, you're of course gonna need to get a lawyer partner, and it takes longer. I definitely would consider putting a year out. I'm sorry, is somebody saying something?
Somebody was snoring.
It sounds like it, but we're gonna keep going. Hopefully they're okay. And if not, if you can mute your line, that'll be great. Okay, so buyer rep, are we good with that?
Yep.
Okay. So the next thing is the information about special flood areas, 1414. This is just, to protect you. A lot of times when you're looking through these.
Let's put a bite inside.
Okay. I'm sorry. If you're not speaking, if you could please mute,
probably in bed.
Because you're throwing me off. Okay. All right. So I hope you got the whole special flood hazard areas, 1414. And then general notice is pretty much just letting the buyer or seller know that you're not responsible for this information, and also points out some generic stuff, just like the residential one. It's no different. That the buyer or seller just need to be aware of. So just putting everybody on notice. And then the last one is inspector information. Of course, every property bought that is improved rather, you do want to get an inspection on it. If you don't, of course, there's an opportunity to just state what your plans are. And then at the bottom here, I highlighted this, but this is just going to be a blank. You may have additional items that you use, but it may not be something that we want you to turn in, but you can list those items here. Like on commercial transactions, you typically don't make an offer on a regular contract first. You do what we call a LOI, a letter of intent. Now that letter of intent helps you start negotiation and opening up the conversation between buyer and seller. But we don't need that as Texas United, because that form is actually is non-binding. So it doesn't really carry any weight, but we use it to get this party started. So you can put that here saying that, hey, I do have this additional document, but it's not required to be turned in. So as of right now, these are the things that we're looking for in order for your commercial sale transaction to be complete. Any questions? It's pretty straightforward. I know you guys don't. The biggest thing is, saying that we have something now to use when we are completing commercial transactions, and we don't have to kind of wonder what is expected. And also, those of you that may inspire to do commercial, you can start reviewing these documents and getting yourself familiar with it. All right.
Robert, I have a question, please.
Okay.
I have your business card that you gave me at the Christmas party,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
because I would like the same information that you're sending to Dina Fisk on that timeline stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I'm looking at your business card. Is that 03 at or 03 at yahoo.com?
03@yahoo.com.
03. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sherry.
I'll send you an email also then.
Okay, no problem. I'll get that out to you guys tonight once
Thank
I
you.
finish this recording.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions before I move on to the
Do
next
you
section?
not have, yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, you have them, you've got several inspections with commercial, am I right in that?
Yeah. Mhm.
Where, do you use amendments to have them rectify any problems? Does that
Yeah.
not happen in commercial?
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same amendments. Yep. You can change price, you can change contract date, you can change timelines. Yes, ma'am. There is a commercial amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else got anything? I can't see who that is. If I find them, I can mute them, but I'm sorry, no, I can't see
It's
who it is.
Amy's phone. It's Amy's phone, AIMEES, iPhone Pro 11.
Okay, let me see if I can find that. You say Amy's phone, iPhone.
AIMEE.
Okay, I got you. All right. Okay, we got it taken care of. Thank you. Okay, there's a few chats here. Let me see. Timeline you mentioned with share, please. Okay, Judith, I got you. And Sherry, I got you. Brandon, okay, got you. Thank you, sir. Okay, all right, so moving on to the listing. Okay, so you're going to see these same documents because, of course, if you're selling, it's the same documents you're going to need for listing. Okay, so the added document, which is going to be your listing agreement, is 1301. Right, the commercial listing agreement is going to be 1301. Okay, of course, got the same contract at IABS, the sewer facility, the condition report, lead base, earnest money, the financing, and of course, with listings, we always try to add the wire fraud. So not a whole lot of change here. It's just like our regular DA checklist. We're going to see these same documents popping up. Okay. Once again, any other documents that you want to add, you can add it here. Okay. And then the last but not least, the lease transaction, whether you represent the owner, tenant, or both as intermediary. Of course, the DA checklist, and then there is a listing lease agreement that you got here. It's 1301. So the actual improvement one is 1301, and the lease is 1302. So when you're looking them up, they should be right beside one of them, and they're both exclusive right to sell, exclusive right to lease. Okay. And then that lease, the actual commercial lease, is going to be 2101. You know what? I got to just warn you guys as you get out there. I've had over the last couple of weeks where the landlord broker, selling broker, has asked the buyer, the tenant broker, to fill out the lease. That's going to be extremely hard, and because you don't know all these things that landlord is requiring. My suggestion is just to push back to that broker and be like, hey, are you sure? Because there's a lot of information in there that I don't know. that your landlord may require, like place of payment. When do they consider late? What's the late fees? What utilities they're paying for? I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. And if they say, no, go ahead and fill it out, I typically fill those things out with my buyer at the advantage. So when it comes down to utilities, I'm putting landlord pay for everything. Just so you know. So as you come across that, just know that it's not uncommon for them to ask you to do that, but you should push back and tell them to fill it out. And if not, you know, make sure that you take care of your buyer as much as you can when you're writing that lease up.
How about long-term leases? Like, let's say, a grocery store is going to lease a space and they're going to build it out, or whoever the company is.
Mhm.
It's going to be a build up, but they're going to be a tenant. They're not owning the land. Is that a part of this, this lease?
Yes. Yes. And then a lot of times, you know, as you go, and this is some things that we'll talk about, or you and, you know, your mentor, whoever. Right now, I've been working on commercial and James has been working commercial, but they got some allowances that you can probably get to help you with the build out. And then on the lease, you can string that out as many years as possible. With, you got inflation, the first 3 years, you can go flat fee, then you have an escalating 3 year, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, whatever you may do. But yeah, this is going to be where that's going to be used, is on your lease agreement if they don't own the building and they're in fact leasing for a certain period of time.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I can't tell you, that's a great question, because commercial, unlike it is like residential, but it's just a little bit more tedious, right? And you know, of course, those transactions are bigger, but a lot of this stuff will come up where you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is different. And brokers out there, those commercial brokers, some of them are friendly and some of them are not. So yeah, just know who you're working with and make sure that you represent your client the best you can.
As a mentor, can you come in and help with negotiation?
I try to, but I also warn my mentees that, you know, a lot of times, you know, clients can be fickle, right? When they start seeing someone else is doing a lot of the talking or leading the show, they try to ask them more questions than asking the actual the person that represent them. So I hate to kind of give someone information, then they start calling me versus them calling, you know, their realtor. So when I'm working with you know, my mentors, I try to tell them to say that I'm a partner. And we kind of collaborate on things as needed to make sure that things are going smoothly.
Thank you.
But yeah, no problem at all. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Sometimes, you know, the commercial lease application, we don't always get to that. You know, if you do the LOI successfully and things are good, most landlords tend to just jump straight to the lease, right? But there is a commercial application, and there is.
Excuse me. What is an LOI?
LOI is a letter of intent.
Okay.
It's just used to kind of, you know, a commercial contract is about 12 to 16 pages. I can't remember between the two of them. And a LOI is like 3 pages. So you can write more offers during the LOI, especially if you got a client that's looking for a property and they're wanting to make offers on a lot of properties so they don't lose anyone. So the LOI is the quickest and easiest way.
Okay,
And
is that different than the pre-approval letter in residential?
can you state that question again? I'm sorry.
Okay, is a letter of intent different from in residential, your pre-approval letter?
Yes.
For your financial, you can prove that they have financial backing to buy this house. And so what is the what's the letter of intent? How does that vary? What is that? What's the difference there?
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So a letter of intent is like an offer. It's not necessarily your finance. It don't have anything to do with financing. It's just a way of opening and starting negotiation with the seller, landlord, and a short version of it. So I'll give you an example. You know, we got a church that we're working on, and the church is like, I forgot, but I think it's 3.7 or something like that, right? And the buyer, they are not thinking that the same number, right? And they're thinking more like, I think she said 2.4 or something. So that's a big number, you know, thinking about almost $1.3 million difference. So instead of wasting time filling out a full contract, we use the letter of intent to kind of show some of the high level thought process to the seller to see if they're willing to start talking with us. So it's just like a contract, but it's not binding, and it's a short version of the contract. So it got
Can we
on
find
there.
that in Dotloop?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And there's one for lease, and there's one for sale, both.
Okay.
I use the one for sale and lease a lot, especially like right now with this multiple offers. I'll just send a letter of intent. I'll write it out and send it to them. Keep me from doing all that work.
Yes, indeed. You better believe it.
If my offer don't get accepted.
Yeah, it just helps, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You'll be writing contracts all night, you know, dealing with these documents as long as they get. I wish they had something, you know, formally for residential that you can use, but you know, I get it. But I tell you, it makes offers a lot easier with these LOIs, because you can, especially for those ones that you know the numbers are so far off. Ain't no sense of kind of wasting time, their time or your time, if you know that you ain't willing to pay that for that property, you know?
Can you do a CMA for commercial? Is
Yeah,
that possible?
yeah, it's gonna be hard for you guys that if you're not, you know, a CoStar member or some type of member of a commercial platform. It definitely can be hard, right? Before I've been doing commercial now, what, 7+ years? When I started, oh my God, it was crazy. You know, I had to sign up for free accounts with renowned, well, I forgot all the names of these places. I would try to do a little trial fee just so I can find comps. You know, comps are hard. You know, you're not going to go out through all the recordings and all these other things. It's time consuming, man. But those of you that are, you know, gonna do this, you know, more than just some time, you know, CoStar, I don't get anything from CoStar. Actually, I feel like they charging me too much, but having a CoStar account will cut your time down, I mean, like 3/4, right? Because I can go into CoStar and just pull up comps, and I can find anything that's sold in the last 2 years all over Houston, really all over the world, just by clicking it. So what CoStar does is they're a database platform that goes out and they look for recordings for you. So you don't have to kind of do it. And if you ever get a chance, just look at the commercial. Now they're a look at the YouTube advertisement. They're a little pricey, and they just went up too. I think right now that membership that I have is, I want to say almost right at 5,500 or something like that. Wait a minute, yeah, it was $5,000. So yeah, right at 5,500 now a year. So basically about 400, almost $500 a month. I know it sounds like a lot, but shoot, you do one deal, it pays for it. You know, you got a whole year to do that. But the time you will save, oh my God, is like crazy. And I know I was talking to, you know, some of the agents. I know, you know, I like Texas United Realty because they streamline their prices. And, you know, just like that we pay for the MLS, I mean, you know, you pay for that. If you go and work for a commercial brokerage, then they might pick up that cost for you. But I like the fact there's not many real estate companies out there that allow you to do residential and commercial in the same brokerage.
No, there isn't, and they don't have the commercial people with the experience to help you. So it's the blind leading the blind. That's why they stay with residential.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, when I was breaking in, man, I was determined because I know that there's a market out there, and these guys have been making money for a long time, man. These deals, you selling $3-5 million properties. It's kind of like you in California, we're selling these homes, you making 60. I had one of my mentees, I gave her that award out that night. She did a church. That church was like, 1.6, her first deal. And she had I forgot what it was, like $30,000 or something she got off the deal. 40, no, it was actually more. It was like, she pocketed, because she's on the mentor program. I think she pocketed somewhere at $30-some thousand. So it's worth it, but it can definitely eat up some of your time for sure. All right. But yeah, CommGate will be good for looking up comps. And yes, you can create CMAs or packages inside of there. And some of you expert that just have great programs, you can create your own packet to, show your client. I know a young lady today, I think it was Shawana. She created some stuff off of Crexy, and she's about to do a lease, send a packet out to a client that want to do an industrial building to do some testing. So, I mean, just get creative, and I can partner with you. Now, I can't do comps for everybody because, you guys already know I'm busy. I stay up to 2 or 3 in the morning, making sure that I'm available for as many people as possible. But when time permits, especially if we ever do like a little Zoom meeting, we kind of talk about how to look for property. I can show you CoStar and how it works as a snippet. And I might, as a matter of fact, since you guys are here and I'm getting close to wrapping up, I'll try to log into CoStar while we're here, and I'll kind of show you a snippet and see if it can be helpful for you. If that's okay with you guys, those who would like to see it anyway.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay, we'll do that. All right. So we talked about lease application possibly being skipped just because of the LOI. And then of course, you're going to need your copies of first month and last month, or deposit and first month rent, however you look at it. And this is, it's not usual. I mean, it's not the usual as residential. So your first month rent or deposit don't necessarily have to be equal. They could be different, especially if there's some allowances added to this. And allowances is like build out allowance. If they're going to give you something to make improvements, that deposit may be a little bit higher. Okay. Of course, the rep agreement, we talked about lead base. Oh, this one is great. This commercial registration between brokers, or if you are dealing straight with a landlord, commercial registration agreement between landlord or owner, right? This is crucial. This is how you get paid. You want to get this out as soon as possible when you're starting to negotiate or your interest in a property. You need to get them to sign this because they're going to tell you how you get paid. Most commercial deals are based on, I try to say 3%, but it can be negotiated up to 10%. And you got to make sure that you understand that before you go too far, right? And my rule of thumb is what I say is, hey, ask the broker, is the commission on this deal 7%, 8%, 5%, something crazy, so that they don't cheat you out of commission. But I can tell you there's a lot of deals been done for 4 or 5% on the buyer side and seller side. Okay. And then if you are, make sure you include the W-9, because when they write those checks, they want to be able to say where this money went to. And then the last one is another notice. It's kind of like, with your notice over there in your sales section, they got a tenant notice as well. And then, of course, your other items, if there's anything that you're using that is not required up here, you can log it right here just for a placeholder and to identify that you have more forms if needed. Okay. Any
Robert.
questions?
Yes. On that last, Robert, on that last line, any other items? Can you give just a couple of examples what they might be?
There's a lot of addendums out there, you know, that you can add. You know, we got the lead-based painting here, but there may be some other type of addendum, propane gas, property management. You know, you may have a phase 1 assessment that you want to add, phase 2 assessment you want to add in there. There are amendments, you know, amendment to the listing, listing agreement amendment. And you know what? Yeah, I don't know if we have that time, but yeah. So any other document that's commercial that we don't have here, you can just list it right here. There will be some for sure. LOI is the most common one, that's for sure. Amendments is probably going to be your next common one because those dates and feasibility studies may change some stuff. Price changes after you do have an inspection. But yeah, there's a bunch of it, and we can probably, you know, talk offline whenever that come up. But my suggestion is also like what I tell my residential mentees. If you have some time and you're going to be doing this, go ahead and go into this dot loop and start looking at some of these forms, because this is how I'm going to get paid. I try to make sure I understand these forms 100%, or if not, I know I've seen them prior to working with my client and about to start one. So like I always tell my guys about schedule if possible. If you're going to work 40 hours, you know, doing real estate, you got to put, you know, anywhere from, you know, 10 hours to 15 hours of just research, education, and just doing your due diligence for your paperwork. Ain't nothing like getting a client, you've been waiting to get a deal, and then you get to the paperwork and you don't have a clue. So definitely review some of these documents just so that you're up to speed with how they work and what needs to be filled in. And typically what I try to do is what my mentees is, if you complete one lease, one sale, keep it, hold it, create a binder, create a folder. I seen you, Sherry, you had your notes over there. That way, when you are going back to it again, you can just look back at that. And that's the good thing about Dotloop too. You have these files that are already there. You can go back and look through them and you can see it. You probably get some of your questions answered. Sorry, did you say something, Sherry?
I was about to. I need to get familiar with Dotloop because I'm not familiar. I'm used to zip forms, but
yeah.
not Dotloop.
Let me tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a zip form magnet, man, a magnet. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm just old school. You know, I've been doing real estate. I've been doing real estate now, what, 22 years?
Yeah.
So zip form is my go-to. I felt comfortable there, and I could, you know, work those documents like crazy. Everything was there. But when I started mentoring, you know, Rick was like, "Hey, we got to do this Dotloop." And I was like, Dotloop? Okay, all right. I said, and then I know he had asked me about a file one day. And he said, "Hey, Robert, can you just look it up on Dotloop?" And I was like, "Rick, you know how to use Dotloop." So, and that was that aha moment where I had to go in. And Dotloop really, you know, I ain't gonna lie to you. Since I've been using it, I actually like it better.
Really?
Yeah, because it populates a lot of information from the listings when you do it right. And, you know, it's just easier to email them out. People kind of get them better. You know, I don't know. I've gotten so fond of it that I've gotten adapted to it.
So is there an instructional video? Like,
yeah.
okay.
That we got on our webinar page, not webinar, and on the webinar, but we have that Google Training Drive. Let me see.
You could take training. They have classes too.
Yeah. We got Dotloop 1, Dotloop 2, Mastering Dotloop. Yes, they got a lot of stuff out there. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's easier than you think. I just, you know how you can be when you just get in your ways. You just Yeah, it just seemed like it's because it's new, right? Everybody
Yeah.
change is different, and sometimes because we know what we're doing, we don't have to have that extra stuff. And you really don't have to have dilute, but for the mentees, it's easier because I can easily pop into any of the transactions they're doing and I can see what they got going on.
Oh, yeah.
Or if they want me to review something, they can send me an address and I can pull it up. So that's the benefit of Dotloop. I think the biggest benefit is the ability to see the mentees' files without them being there or needing them to give you access. I can go into any file, any mentee in the company. I can go into their files and take a look at them. And it just makes it easier to review, especially in my case, because I'm a late nighter. Like tonight, I probably won't be done. I got I think I got 2 Zoom meetings after this. So I probably won't be done with meetings till at least 11:30. And then when that happens, then it's time for me to do some more research. Like I still got a restaurant that I'm looking for. I got some property that I'm looking for myself. I need a building, some land with a building and a house on it. So I'll be up to the wee hours tonight just doing research.
Mhm.
But and also,
Sherry, for a quick answer to Dotloop,
Yes,
after you've looked at things, if you have questions, Fernando is a Dotloop expert.
Oh, yes.
You can
Oh, my
ask
God.
him a quick question and he's a doll.
okay.
He really is an easy person to ask and work with.
Yeah.
Do I need to make an appointment with them or just call them up?
Well, I'd call him up and make an appointment
Yeah.
Okay,
because he'll do an in thing Zoom thing. And I don't know. He's been my coach. I'm on my last deal
Okay.
that he's going to be my coach because I've fulfilled my thing, my number that I agreed upon. And but he is the easiest person to work with.
Yeah.
Has a personality a lot like this gentleman here.
okay,
Just easygoing and is just there to help.
okay.
Fernando is I gotta agree with that. I second that, man. Fernando is amazing. I met him when I came to the company. I think I've been with Texas United right at 14 years now. And he was here doing it, all of it. This guy, man, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's open. Man, he just loves people. We talk today and laugh, and he's all about these documents. So you ain't gonna mess up. If you work with him, them filling them forms out. He's gonna be 100. You can't miss much with Fernando. But like she said, you call him, he can adjust Dotloop, he can fix problems in Dotloop. He's just a wealth of knowledge. And
Or if you get in a bind and you need something, I just email him and say, how do you do this? And 90% of the time it's like, oh, that's easy. Just go to Dotloop and do this. And I mean, he's just a wealth of knowledge and he's so easy to approach and work with.
yes.
Well,
And he
that's
want to
good.
help too. He want to help. So I have to keep him in prayer because, man, I know he got a lot on his plate, man. He's the mentors coach, and he's doing a lot of coaching to a lot of agents, and he's assistant broker, working on to become an assistant broker. So he's just got a lot going, and he do it all with class. So definitely reach out to him if you have some questions on that.
Okay,
and
okay.
I just want to share with y'all something I learned regarding commercial. The question was, can you put earnest money? Can you utilize stock options as earnest money? Remember that one?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes. But you would need an attorney and a Series 7 person to complete that transaction. You cannot write it up alone. And Title's company and Allegiance Title knows how to do that as well. So just want to put that out there. So you can have earnest money as stock options. It
Yeah,
just
that's
gets
good.
a
You
little
could do
bit
it for
more.
residential too.
Oh,
You
really?
could
I
do
didn't
it
know
on.
that.
Oh yeah. I had a lady. They use their stock to be able to use for their down payment. They got an attorney, residential real estate attorney, and he actually did it. He knew all about it. He knew how to do all of that. Yep.
That's great. That's some good news. So we were just
me
learning about
with-
the
with
commercial.
SOAR.
Well, that's good information to know.
Yeah.
Right.
And just FYI, a lot of these deals in commercial, you probably would need an attorney to partner with, especially when they get outside of the typical promulgated forms that we are accustomed to. You know, we don't want you trying to practice law. So make sure that you got someone on your team or you got access. I don't care if it's prepaid legal or anyone that can help you with reviewing documents or making suggestions on your behalf. And typically it all depends, you know, if you have a lawyer already, the review of those files can be anywhere from $250 to $1,000. And it's definitely worth it when you can get yourself in a jam and not know what you're doing and cost your client tens of thousands of dollars. So
Well, don't we have an attorney that works with Texas United Realty?
not that works for Texas United Realty, but they work at Texas United Realty, and they're open to taking on new clients to help them represent their interests. And James is one of them. He helps with commercial mentoring, but James have been a little busy, but I know I use him a lot.
James who?
I got it. Let me tell you, hold on. I'm not really good with names, but I'll tell you, I'm look it up and tell you what his last name is.
Oh, and I was gonna tell the lady that was asking about Loop. If you good with zip form, you could just still use your zip form and just all you have to do is just save it and just drag it into Loop, which will help a lot too. You could just drag everything you've done in zip form, the same documents, and you just take it and drag it in there.
Huh, thank
Oh,
you.
that's awesome. I did not even know
Because
that.
I don't even go in there and do my forms in Loop. I keep all of my stuff in my zip forms like I've been doing, and then I actually just save a copy to my desktop. I make a folder and then I save it, and all I do is just drag it in there and I delete that folder. I just drag it all into Loop wherever like each document that you do that you gotta have, I just drag it in there and then it puts it on top of the other ones.
Wow.
Is that Patricia? Is that Patricia?
Patina.
Patina, I'm sorry. Hey,
Yeah.
are you saying that those fields, those areas that you write in, would they still recognize coming from zip forms to Loop? Would they still recognize those fields? Oh,
it's just gonna cover it. So like all of these documents that you have in there, and if you go in zip forms and you did all these documents that you got right here, and then all you gotta do is save. I do is just save I do my client's name, and then I'll put the address of the commercial. Then I just take all those documents and drag them over into Loop. And it puts it on top of there, and then it's gonna show not submitted. It's gonna show red, and then once it show red, you already know. You could just click on it. It's gonna show the document that you already filled out. So it's much better because I've been doing Loop for a long time when I was with Keller Williams years ago. But since I went back to zip forms, I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with all of that. I can be able to keep all of my stuff in zip forms and have them everything that I need. Because if I need to go, I know you can go back to Loop, but I just have all of my documents and stuff there.
If you save something to your desktop, let's say you scan something, a handwritten buyer rep agreement as an example, and you have it scanned into my desktop, then I go into Loop, add document, go get it, and it's added as a document. Any document can be added by adding document off of your desktop.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah. I kind of knew that one. The thing is that I was most intrigued by is what she's saying, that those fields is when you drag a document over there, you got to add text box to those fields when you are trying to fill it out or add or remove something. But in this case, it creates those fields for you is what she's saying, and you can just continue to type. Sorry?
It's going to remove the old form. and it's gonna it's gonna remove the form, and it's gonna just drop whatever form you drop in there that you already got completed and signed and everything. You just put it on top of that one, and it's gonna automatically have everything there that you need. So you don't even have to do anything.
Oh, okay. So
You
you're
don't even
saying you
have to
don't
send it
have
to
to
be
add anything
signed.
to it.
Because
You just
even
drop
in
in the
zip
document.
forms, in zip forms, I send all of my stuff to be signed through zip form. And when it comes back to me in zip form, you just go into the thing in zip forms, and it has all the forms that you already had signed by your client. You just retrieve it, just click on retrieve, and then it automatically have them. I just save and then I just drag it over into Dotloop, and I won't have to worry about it.
Okay. Man,
Wow.
look, hey, we be learning, man. This is awesome. I like collaboration. And this is what, just so you guys know, this is what Texas Your Name It had envisioned when they started doing these webinars. They started doing these groups, this Facebook page. There's a wealth of knowledge out here. Agents of different walks in life that know a lot of things. The more we share, the better and the stronger we get. The more we share, the more we can pour into someone's life and help them see the bigger picture of their career, you know, because I'm learning something here tonight. So I appreciate you guys and your time. It is getting close to, you know, shutdown. I do want to kind of, you know, if there's any other questions, get those real quick. But I do want to just do a pop in on CoStar just because I promised it. I don't want to take up too much of time because, like I said, it's already been an hour and 2 minutes. But is there anything else anyone may have questions about that we can answer real quick or kind of knock out? And if we don't need to see CoStar, we can answer more questions and just take CoStar off the list.
Let's look at CoStar. I want to see how it looks.
Okay. All right. Anybody else opposed to that or have any other questions? All right. Okay, so I'm going to switch screens here, and I want to make sure that at the end of the day that you guys can see my screen. Let me see here.
I do have another question, Robert. So
Okay.
this one shown is commercial DA checklist for lease transaction. Was there a previous one for a purchase? Did I miss that?
Yeah, that's the one we started with. That was the first one. Let me
Can I just take a picture of it, or is it easy to retrieve?
yeah, but we're gonna post it, and I'm gonna send, if you send it when you
Yeah,
send
I
me,
emailed.
yeah, send me that email. I'll include the actual version of it because this is not the version. I just pulled it down so I can put it into this PowerPoint thing so I can show it. But there's actually a checklist that looked just like the other checklist.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm gonna stop the share here. And let me get this up on the screen. Hang tight, I'm coming. All right, can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right, so this is CoStar, the home page right here, right? I'm gonna log in. The thing is with CoStar also is they are really big on not sharing information. So when you get an account, it's going to be set up to every time you want to use it, you got to log in, and then it's going to text you a verification code specifically to your phone number to verify that it's you, and that way it allows you to log in. All right, so here we are. CoStar has a lot of information for commercial on the front page here. You know, you can see ups and downs in markets. lot of great information if you're trying to inform your client about, what's happening in the industrial, commercial, residential, restaurant, whatever it may be. You got market insight down here at the bottom. And then you can kind of go through here. So let's go to sale comps. Like if I want to look at sales comps, not lease comp, just sales comp, I got to pull up a map, and obviously up here, this tells me the date. I can go here and start streamlining what kind of building this is. So we'll take it down to, let's just say, industrial. All right, I click industrial, and you can see it removes a lot of listings. I could take this thing down, or I can draw circles. I could do whatever I want to do on here to kind of help me identify where I want to view it. But let's just see right here. It say right here. So this sold in December 2021 for $2.2 million. Some of them don't always have a disclosed dollar amount, because these people have the right to disclose it or not disclose it. But let's go into here. Let me just show you something. So I look up this property, and of course, this is based off of what my interest is. If I'm not looking for industrial, I'm gonna go do something totally different. But in this, it tells me the day that it was sold, how much it sold for, the price, how many days on the market, the year built, the square footage, and was it leased at the sale? It was leased 100%. So somebody bought it as an investment. This was a Universal Sprinkler Corporation, and now they own the building, but somebody's leasing it from them. Okay. They originally was asking $2.4 million for this property, but they got 2.2. All right. And then it goes into details. It has it may have some surveys, it may have some other documents, it may have capacity letters, anything that's going on with this property that you might want to know about. And then it'll tell you who the listing broker is. It may even have some pictures. And then Cindy, she's our CoStar representative in the South. So you can contact her about commissions and some other stuff that you may have questions about. But then you got the market at the sale time, what was going on, it's the year-on-year change. Oh my God, it's so much information.
So Robert, that was a lease, not a sale, or it was a sale?
No, this was a sale. This was actually a sale.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But it was actually, it was leased when they bought it. So it was bought as an investment property. So this person that bought it, they won't be moving in there as an owner occupant. They bought it and it already had a lease already in place.
Oh, okay, thanks.
And
But
also
then,
a major difference that I'm seeing between commercial and residential is that they talk square feet. A price per square feet is very popular in commercial, and you have to know your conversions.
Yeah, that's good, Laura. They definitely talk square feet a lot, because that's how people budget, and that's how they make use of what kind of dollar they want to spend. So as you can see, this was $139 a square foot. Sometimes when it comes down to buildings and land, that square footage can be a little off, just because it's not calculating appropriately. Like if you had a building, a 10,000 square foot building, but it's sitting on 50 acres, it's going to give that price per square footage, it's going to be off a little bit, right? Because it's more land than it is building. And the land price per square foot is going to be different than the building price per square foot. So let's talk about like if you want to know demographics, you can kind of click here. It'll kind of give you some quick stuff where you have to go find this if you don't have this system, right? You can go all through population by race, population by age. It's just so much information here. I can go to public record. You know, this is kind of like, you know, the HCAD of commercial, right? So you can see this was 83,000 square foot land. So that's right at about 2 acres, or a little under 2 acres, if I'm not mistaken. It tells you the parcel number, the longitude, latitude, the transaction, the last transaction, when the person that bought it, how much, you know, they bought it for. So the person that bought it, they bought it for 1.8 back in 2019, or they got a loan amount for 2.8. We know, you know, it may not be the same. But if they did buy for 1.8 and then they just sold it for what, 2.4, what was that? 2.4, I think. 2.2. They had it listed for 2.4 and they sold it for 2.2. They'd have made $400,000 in 2 years. So, and then down here, of course, you got your assessments that kind of help you understand, you know, what the tax rate will be. But it's just a lot of information. Like I said, when I go back to this, I can pretty much hone in on whatever I want versus me having to go in, type in how many years, or what's the square footage. I just come here. I can just change or do whatever I want. If I don't want that, I can go to retail. If I want to go back more years, I can go back more years. If I want to change the size, I can change the size, you know, minimum, maximum. If I want to create some reports, I can create a report. But I strongly advise, if you are gonna want to use this, is good. And this report is like, you know, I think someone asked earlier about a CMA, you know, so this is a comp report. You can detail it out how you want it. You know, I'm just gonna click on some stuff and generate this, right? Hold on 1 second. There's a pretty maximum. All right, I don't want that many. So what it was telling me was, because I didn't kind of narrow it down, it's so many properties that they won't allow it. So if I was to take it down, let me go here and just take this size down. I'm gonna put max size at 5,000.
Robert, I have a question. Say, for instance, if you want CoStar, saying you have like 3 or 4 other agents that want access to CoStar, can you like, you know, be in charge of it and have to just collect like their portion and have one user ID and they share?
They don't want you to share. That's the thing. I've been fighting. I've been fighting with CoStar forever, man.
You know?
Huh?
What they don't know don't hurt.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, then you got all these people texting me, and if I don't answer the phone,
You know what I mean?
if I don't give them that text message code, they can't get in.
Huh?
I said, the thing is, if I don't answer the phone or give them that text message code, they can't get in. So nobody's going to pay $400 and got to look how many other dollars they're going to pay and have to rely on me to get it. But what I've been trying to do is talk to CoStar about, if we add so many people to this program, could they in fact, you know, give us a better discount, like, you know, and they will, like, if we add on another person, all of ours would go down about $20. If we add up to, you know, 20 people, instead of us paying $400, we might be paying $389 or something. But it's not enough to where I think it's worth it. You know, I personally, I know that I have to have this. There's no way I can conduct business without CoStar, and I don't even want to try. So I have to just say, you know what, I'm going to give them this 5,000 and be done with it. Same way with MLS. Like, we can't do business without having that subscription to HAR. So we give them that, what is it, $100 and something a quarter or something? But same thing here. No, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
gonna...
but if they give you a text message, you can set up a Google number, have everybody, you know, on your you know, little collaborative, you know, group, to have access to the Google number. And if they, I mean, do you understand? You can just boom.
Yeah, that's too much work for me, man. I got other stuff I got to be worried about than to be trying to do that. I would say just pay that $5,000 and make the business happen.
$5,000 a year, is it, Robert?
Huh?
$5,000 a year, or how?
Yeah, it's a year. Yes, ma'am.
Look, man, I am too cheap to live that expensive. To live that expensive.
Girl, hey, look, she the main one talking and got a $9 million deal that she trying to do. You know what
Hey,
$9 million is gonna pay you at the end of the day? You can buy everybody a subscription with that kind of money, girl.
Hush, hush. Shh.
I know, right? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put that out there. I'm sorry, but I just thought, I'm like, girl, you need this. You get this thing and freaking making almost $500,000 dealing with. Oh, actually, it's actually almost, what is it? Almost $2 million or something you be making.
No, it would be 140.
140? No, indeed. No, it's way more than that. No, it's way more than that, Laura. Let me just
That
tell
would be
you.
my commission.
Huh?
That would be
9 million
my
just
commission.
at 3% is 27 million. I mean, wait a minute, times 3%. Yeah, it's 270. I'm sorry. I was like, it's way more than that. It's 270. You're right. Sound like a lot, but it's two.
But yeah, but since I'm on the mentor program, I would have to share with God and everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. 270 times 70%, you still at 190,000. I mean, you still can buy everybody subscriptions with that. All right, guys. Well, I'm not going to hold you longer. I just want to give you that snippet. I know a few people wanted a copy. You know, let me take down a few of these. Let me take a few pictures so I can get these email addresses. But if not, please email me and I'll make sure to send it out. If I miss you, just call me. I promise I'll get it right. But I know that time is of essence and, you know, it is getting a little late. I got Corey, I got Brandon, I got Terry, I got Judith. I already know Judith.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'm gonna leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Dina. Goodbye.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Thank you guys so much for your time. And I'm so sorry I went over, but I think we got some good information here. So good night. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Hey, Robert, this is Hamed. Do you have my email?
I'm sorry, who? I can't hear you.
Hamed, this is Hamed. Can you hear me?
No, can you text it to me, Hamed?
Okay, I'll text my email.
You got my number?
No.
Can I give it to you real quick?
Okay, good. Thank you.
It's 832 723.
723.
Yes, sir. 0780.
0780. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. And I'll work on all those tonight. I got a Zoom call that I need to jump on right now. Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Bye-bye.